shortly. Please
August
remain
12th
on the line.
for both UPS and UPS Freight. And I'm going to read you the numbers for those right now. For the mailing for UPS, we sent out 207,069 mail packets to members. During the process of the election and the administrators at the locals were able to add members and re-credential members as necessary. 3,221 members had been added during the period of the election for UPS by the locals. Today, a list of ineligible voters was provided to us, and on that, for the UPS group, that count was 1,247. So total votership available for UPS, 209,043. There were also a number of re-credentials done by the UPS local administrators at the locals, and the number of re-credentials providing new access codes was 8,070. I'll read the numbers for UPS
The
Freight.
webinar will begin shortly.
Correct.
Very good. As I turn to our next speaker, I just want to make a note that we have 13 observers in the room. Many of them have been here during the day as the electronic process and the process of handling challenges was explained. And now I'd like to turn to Mr. Dennis Taylor, co-chair, national co-chair of the negotiating committee for UPS. Dennis?
Thank you, Ed. I'd like to thank the UPS National Negotiating Committee members who spent many months on the road negotiating this agreement. And without their input and vigorous debate, we would not have achieved the result that is before you here this evening. I'd also like to thank the members who actually expressed their opinion by voting on this national contract. And whether you voted for or against the national master, the membership will have spoken here this evening, and we need to move past any residual political rhetoric and come together as a unit to resolve any other issues that may result as of this evening. Thank you.
Very good. Jerry, do you have some additional data you want to share at this time?
Yeah, I forgot to mention two numbers. One of which, for the UPS total votes cast in this election, was 93,750.
The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line.
1,247 members that were declared ineligible, 288 had cast votes prior to being declared ineligible.
Very good. Thank you very much. Are there any questions that we have in the room that we want to handle? Do all of the observers who have been able to attend here today understand the explanations that have been offered to them? Are there any questions that you have remaining before we begin our review of the process?
The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line.
All right, I don't see any questions, so we're going to proceed. Thank you, observers. Please.
So the next step is to officiate the election, and I do that through a control console we have on our website for Ballot Point. And we go through the first step. It's referred to as check pending challenges. This is where we take care of challenges that have been logged. In this particular case, it's anybody who has been marked as ineligible. We need to make sure they do not get counted. Those votes are set aside electronically.
The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line.
So we select the vote of interest here. Click on check pending challenges, and this can take a few moments here. We go through a process of decrypting our votes. When the votes are stored after you've cast them, they're encrypted in two different ways on two different servers, and so all sorts of data protections are set up during that time. we have a background process running on one of the servers here. It's looking for more decryptions to do, and so it has a 1-minute cycle, and so that's what the dots
webinar
are
will begin
indicating here. We're waiting
shortly.
for that to
Please remain
begin.
on the line.
Always takes longer when there's a group.
Jerry, while we're waiting, I'll take a minute to let the folks on the call know that during this process, I was able to observe the entire process from the printing and insertion of the ballots at the Union Printing and Mail House in Michigan, to the ballots being taken to the post office
The webinar will
to
begin
be mailed,
shortly. Please
as well
remain
as
on the
being
line.
in regular contact with the Ballot Point staff. And so I've received enough updates and enough data to advise the group that's on the call that, in my opinion, as a third-party neutral, the process has been conducted fairly. People have had a chance to vote and vote secretly. Their votes have been protected. We've received no challenges or issues raised to that effect. And pending the ultimate numbers, I am prepared to certify the results of the election.
What we're watching right now is the green progress bar. As soon as it reaches the end here, all of the votes
The
will be
webinar will
decrypted.
begin
There are
shortly.
93,000
Please
votes
remain
that
on
were
the
heavily
line.
encrypted, so it takes a short while.
The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line.
Okay, I'll read the screen. Ballot decryption is complete. Since there are no pending challenges, this process is complete. All of the challenges were embodied in the ineligible list applied earlier today. So there were 288 voided ballots. So again, of the 1,247 votes that were marked as ineligible, 288 people had voted. So that's where that number comes from. The next step is to officiate the results,
The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line.
which means that this is a step that you can't back out of. Once this is done, any kind of markers we would need in order to redo things, they're gone. We'll enter the witnesses. Dennis Taylor. Spell Dennis, let me know. No.
The webinar will begin.
So while Jerry's doing the typing, this is Ed Hartfield, and Jerry's entering in 3 individuals who are serving as witnesses for the ballot results. As mentioned previously, the first one is Dennis Taylor, co-chair of the
The
National
webinar will
Negotiating
begin
Committee.
shortly.
The
Please
second
remain
is
on the
Jerry
line.
Feldkamp, who is the Chief Technology Officer of Ballot Point Election Services. And Edward Hartfield, myself, I have the privilege of serving as the 3rd witness.
Counting is complete, and we will now look at the results. Not sure which of these things.
The webinar will begin shortly.
I don't think that one is actually implemented. Oh, it's preparing the tally sheet, yeah. Man, I just got a note from my friends back at the office saying, no, totals only. Well, okay, that's all that's implemented at the moment.
Thank you, Jerry. So for the National Master UPS tentative agreement,
The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the
42,356
line.
members voted yes, representing 45.74%. 50,248 members voted no, representing 54.26%, for a total votes of 92,604. I'd like to turn back to Dennis Taylor for a series of comments on the National Master Agreement. Dennis?
Well, based on the preliminary numbers, we would have a ratified agreement based on our constitutional requirements. However, we will be going back with the company to talk to them about some additional changes, and we would effectuate those changes should the company be agreeable.
Okay. All right, thank you, Dennis. So now we're going to continue with the summary totals for the various regional tentative agreements. In the Western region, 10,983 members, representing 68.82%, voted yes.
The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line.
4,976 members, representing 31.18%, voted no, for total votes of 15,959. Okay, I'm going to continue. In the Central region, 10,468 members, representing 45.72%, voted yes. 12,429 members voted no, representing 54.28%. Total votes, 22,897.
The webinar will begin shortly.
In the
Please
Southern
remain
region,
on the line.
9,847 representing 52.77% voted yes. 8,813 members representing 47.23% voted no. Total votes cast in the Southern region, 18,660. In the Teamsters Cartage Services, the CSI tentative agreement, 342 members representing 73.23% voted yes.
The webinar will begin shortly.
125
Please
members
remain on the line.
representing 26.77% voted no. Out of a total votes cast, 467. In the Atlantic area, 3,841 Teamsters voted yes, representing 48.21%, while 4,126 members, representing 51.79%, voted no. Total votes cast, 7,967. Continuing on to the Central Pennsylvania
The webinar will begin
region.
shortly. Please remain on the line.
747 members voted yes, representing 37%, 37.11 to be exact, while 1,266 members voted no, representing 62.89%. Total votes cast in the Central Pennsylvania tentative agreement was 2,013. Excuse me. In Joint Council 28 package and sort, 1,997 members representing 86.79% voted yes.
The webinar will
304
begin shortly. Please remain on the
members
line.
representing 13.21% voted no. Total votes cast, 2,301. In Teamsters Joint Council 3 package and feeder agreement, 704 voted yes, representing 84.62% of the members. 128 members representing 15.38% voted no. Total votes cast, 832. In Joint Council 3 sort tentative agreement,
The webinar will begin shortly.
294
Please remain on the
members,
line.
representing 73.87% voted yes. 104 members representing 26.13% voted no. Total votes cast, 398. In the Joint Council 37 package and sort negotiations, 1,548 voted yes, representing 81.35%. 355 members voted no, representing 18.65%. Total votes cast, 1,903. In
The
the
webinar will begin
Local
shortly.
769
Please remain on the line.
Latin America, Inc., Miami Air Cargo Agreement, otherwise known as LAI, 85 members voted yes, representing 87.63%. 12 voted no, representing 12.37%. Total votes cast, 97. In the Local 89 Air tentative agreement, 963 members said yes, 41.15% of the total votes cast. 1,377 members voted no, representing
The webinar will begin shortly.
58.85%.
Please remain
Total
on the
votes
line.
cast, 2,340, 2,340. In the Local 177 drivers negotiations, 1,785 members voted yes, representing 52.55% of the votes, while 1,612 members representing 47.45% voted no. Total votes cast in the Local 177 agreement, 3,397 votes. In the Local 177 Mechanics and Maintenance Agreement,
The webinar will begin
55
shortly.
members
Please
voted
remain
yes,
on the line.
representing 67.90% of the vote. 26 members voted no, representing 32.1% of the vote. Total votes cast, 81. In the Metro Detroit Teamsters Local 243 and Metro Area negotiations, 476 members voted yes. That comes to a total of 37.25%. 802 members voted no, representing 62.75%. The total votes cast
The webinar
in
will
that
begin
Local
shortly.
243
Please
and
remain
Metro
on the
Detroit
line.
negotiations, 1,278. State of Wisconsin, Teamsters Local 344, 1,053 members voted yes, representing 54.17% of the vote. 891 members voted no, representing 45.83% of the total votes cast, which was 1,944. In the Local 623 tentative agreement, 572 members voted yes. That reflected
The webinar will begin shortly.
50.35%.
Please remain on the line.
564 members voted no. That reflected 49.65% of the total votes cast, which were 1136. Moving on now to Local 804's TA, 157 members voted yes, reflecting 4.66% of the members, while 3,209 members voted no, representing 95.34% of the total of 3,366 votes cast.
The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line.
Local 959 had the Alaska full-time and part-time tentative agreement. Out of that, 219 members voted yes, with a percentage of 92.8%. Excuse me. 17 members voted no, reflecting 7.2% of the membership. The total votes cast in the Alaska agreement was 236. In the Hawaii tentative agreement for Local 996, 150 members voted yes, representing
The webinar will begin
71.09%,
shortly. Please
while
remain on the
61
line.
members voted no, representing 28.91%. Total votes cast in Hawaii, 211. In the Metro Philadelphia area, 1,169 members voted yes. That amounted to 54.45%. 978 members voted no. That amounted to 45.55% of the 2,147 total votes cast. In New England,
The webinar will begin shortly.
4,672 members
Please
voted
remain
yes,
on the line.
representing 79.46% of the vote. 1,208 members voted no, reflecting 20.54%. Total votes cast, 5,880. In the Northern California Supplement and Sort tentative agreements, 2,036 members, reflecting 45.98%, just under 46, voted yes. In favor of the agreement, 2,392 members voted no, reflecting
The webinar will
54.02%
begin shortly.
of the
Please remain on the line.
4,428 votes that were cast. In the Southwest automotive and utility negotiations, 85 members, reflecting 71.43%, voted in favor of the agreement. 34 members, representing 28.57%, voted against it. Total votes cast, 119. Now, in the Southwest package and sort agreements, 5,943 members, representing
will begin shortly. Please remain on the
60.39%,
line.
voted in favor. 3,898 members, reflecting 39.61%, voted against. Total votes cast, 9,841 votes. In the trailer conditioners negotiations, otherwise known as TCI, 15 members, representing 27.27%, voted in favor. 40 members voted against, and that was a percentage of 72.73% out of the total votes cast of 55.
The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on
Moving
the line.
now to the Upstate and West New York tentative agreement. 754 members, reflecting 30.95%, voted in favor. 1,682 members, reflecting 69.05% voted against. Total votes cast, 2,436. In the Western Pennsylvania and Local 926 car wash negotiations, 567 members voted in favor. That was 38.49%.
The webinar will begin shortly.
906
Please remain on the
members
line.
voted against. That was 61.51%. Total votes cast were 1,473. Dennis, have you had time to put together some comments about the various supplement agreements here?
Well, obviously there are a number of the supplements that have not been ratified, and as a result of that, we will have to get with those supplemental committees, put them back in touch with the company for renegotiations.
The webinar will begin
Until
shortly.
that
Please remain on
would
the
occur,
line.
obviously there would be no master agreement in effect until that is ratified, until those supplements are ratified.
Okay, understood. Are we ready at this point in time to proceed with UPS Freight?
Yes.
Okay. So Jerry, if you're ready, I would appreciate that, please.
Okay. Read the same numbers that we started with for UPS. Total number of mailed packages to members is 10,194. The number of additions made by the locals administrators, 217.
The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the
There
line.
were 65 people in the ineligibles list in UPS Freight. Of those, 65 had voted. For a total votership of 10,346. And there were 519 credential replacements for those, for UPS Freight.
Thank you very much, Jerry. If we're ready to go first to the master.
Go through the same process here as we did for the
webinar will begin shortly.
UPS.
Please remain on the line.
Go through the pending challenges. This won't take quite as long, but we still have the more or less 1 minute startup time. So all of the votes have been decrypted. For 21 voided ballots.
The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line.
Jerry Feldkamp of Ballot Point is entering in the witness information for UPS Freight.
The
Just
webinar will
note
begin
that the
shortly.
witnesses are the same 3 individuals served for the UPS master. And that is Dennis Taylor, co-chair of the National Negotiating Committee, Jerry Feldkamp, Chief Technology Officer at Ballot Point, and myself, Ed Hartfield, as the Independent Election Officer.
Welcome to the webinar. Please stand by. The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line.
you, Jerry. In the National Master UPS Freight Tentative Agreement, 2,601 members voted in favor of the agreement. That reflected 37.94%. 4,255 members voted against the tentative agreement, representing 62.06%. Total votes cast in the master agreement was 6,856.
The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line.
Okay. We want to thank and express appreciation for everybody who participated in the call. There has been discussion here tonight that additional information will be tallied and made available over the next week or so, and there will be additional conversations between the Teamsters and the companies as are warranted to move forward. Thank you and good night.
The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line.
The Access Live event has ended.